All right, we are back. So we're going to start, we're going to take our coils. Okay, so I had told you, you want to have about 50 of these. Okay, so we're going to take these, we're going to take our first one and we're going to like sort of roll it on the side of the table to make it ready to go. And then this is where I'm going to use my liquid glue or hot glue. Hot glue probably comes together faster. And all I'm going to do is just do one stripe of glue right down the middle, just like that. Okay. Then I start at one end and I start rolling this almost like it's a sleeping bag or a jelly roll. Keeping it really tight. I don't want to have like pockets of air in there. And it's a lot sturdier if you do that too. Okay, so that right there, that is that. And that. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're just going to keep wrapping around this. Okay, so just like we did before, I'm going to soften that on the side of the table, and then I'm going to do a stripe of glue or hot glue or glue stick, whatever you've got, and I'm just going to wrap this around it as tight as I can, keeping it nice and close together without like pockets of air. Okay, now since this is, so if this is hot glue, it's pretty much instantly going to be stuck. But if it's liquid glue or glue stick, sometimes you have to hold it for a second. And that's okay. It will eventually stick. Okay, so I'm going to keep going and going. And as I keep wrapping these around, it's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. Just like that. And I'll keep going. Now, that's how quickly it's gotten that big. Now, that's not big enough, okay? Here's kind of a tip. First of all, looking at this guy, I made a huge mistake with this. It falls over so easily because I did not make my base big enough, okay? When I put my hand over the base, do you see the way it's so much smaller than my hand? You want your base to be bigger than your hand so that if you cover your hand up and you look at it on the other side, that you can see the base coming out around your hand, okay? So this is what I have so far. If I put my hand over it, we can see that that is not big enough. But use your imagination and pretend I've continued this. There's a base that's big enough, okay? So when I put my hand behind it, do you see how it's like poking through right here? And down here, we can see that it is bigger than my hand. We can see it's bigger than the palm of my hand. So that is a really good sign that your base isn't going to fall over. Now, you could make it really wide if you wanted it. It could be kind of like a bowl or like a plate or a platter. But this is going to be pretty wide. Now, this one, you can see that it's bigger than my hand. I made this one nice and wide, and I never have issues with this one toppling over. It's so much better. Okay, so you've done this. So imagine that you've made your base is big enough, and now you're going to start building the sides of it, okay, so that it starts to look like this. So we want to take this and start building it up. Now, okay, so you're going to still continue with the rods. Here's a tip for me with these coils. You're going to continue with these. When I have white ones or ones that are kind of boring colors, that's what I use on the base, and then I save up my favorite colored ones for the sides. Or wrapping paper, like this one's made with all wrapping paper, okay? So here's what you're gonna do. So just like before, when we were rolling our base like this, we were putting a stripe of glue right down the middle, okay? Now I'm gonna put a stripe of glue at the bottom, like that, okay? So I'm gonna put that at the bottom, and I'm going to wrap it around, like instead of putting it clear down flat, I'm moving it up. So instead of being down here like this, I'm moving it up like this, and I'm going to go all the way around. Now, it doesn't quite touch right there. And that's another sign that you've made it big enough if it doesn't quite touch. And this is liquid glue, not hot glue, so I have to hold it in place for a second. That's okay. Honestly, you could take a rubber band and put a rubber band kind of while you're working on the next one. That's fine. So typically on this layer, I'll do one going this way and one going this way because I don't want that open area. So